Welcome everyone to. I don't know what that was about, but anyway, well, I'm having a feedback here. So let me see what's going on. All right, so I got to get rid of that. Okay, fantastic. There we go. All right, welcome everyone to part 11 of characteristics of a leader, our character building workshop. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas. I hope your kids were blessed. I hope everyone in your family was blessed by the love and giving that we're supposed to do on this day we call Christmas around here. We celebrate Christmas every day because we're giving and loving throughout the 365 years or days in which we're given. All right. So I just want to recap. We're on part 11, and the whole motivation of this series is to assist individuals to become better leaders. We as men, we are born leaders, and we also have women in leadership positions. They're single mothers, they're supervisors, managers, all these type of things. But the title and the talent is one thing, but the character is another. So if you want to be a superb leader, one that individuals desire to follow, I used to say, I would rather my sales team work harder with me not in the office than me being in the office. And in that, that's a character of a good leader because they are backing you, they're supporting you, they're hand in hand moving forward with you to complete what it is that you're trying to complete. So, in me finding many different characteristics of leaders, it really prompted me to write this book, Characteristics of a Leader. It is on Amazon. I think it's in the private chat. You can go there, click on the link, go to Amazon and purchase your own book. If you don't see it in the link, you can just type in Characteristics of a Leader and my name, Anthony Baxter, and you should see it pop right on up. Get a book, read it, answer the questions that are in it because they're basically for you. No one can answer them but you. And then there's a spot where you can write out some things that really touched you in that chapter and move on to the next. Now, don't be one that reads but doesn't apply. You got to apply these things in order for you to grow and prosper in your leadership. So today we're going to be talking about humility. Humility. All right. Now, humility is today's day and age is something that's foreign. If we look at the up and coming generation, we see a lot of arrogance, we see a lot of pride, we see a lot of self, me. But humility is something totally different. Now, one of a good leader's most one of a good leader's most important yet unvalued traits is humility. Humility is a quality or state of being humble. It's the absence of pride and arrogance. It's the absence of pride and arrogance. And again, we're living in a time where everyone is like, it's all about me. I want what I want when I want it. Somebody says something to you sideways and you be like, don't you know who I am? I'm whoop, whoop. All that pride. But see, you can't have pride being an effective leader. Now, I know many of us have supervisors and individuals that are in positions of leadership, and we see pride and arrogance written all over them. And I'm quite sure you don't want to be that way yourself. So I want to point out some tools that'll help you to become a leader with great humility in the workplace, in the home, or wherever you may be leading at. It's one of those jewels that many don't have, but if you have it, I can tell you, you'll have many people wanting to follow you, desiring to follow you, and attempting to do what it is that you're trying to do. All right. So today, being humble is looked at as being weak, as I was saying. Kids today, if you come at them in a humble way, a modest way, they would assume to take advantage of you because they assume that you're weak. But being a leader, your humility is a strength. I wrote in my book this. I wrote, a humble leader understands that they are not above others and that everyone has something to contribute. This open mindedness allows you creativity and different perspectives, leading to better decision making, leading to better decision making. So when you see yourself, but you see others that have qualities and talents that may be able to assist the team, because it's not a I, it's a we. So as you're able to pull on those talents now, who doesn't want to do what they're good at? Everybody wants to do the things that they're good at. So if you can see the talents or the good of what someone does very well, and you assign that to them, they'll do it and love to do it because it's something they know they have a strength in. They have a strength in. But, on the other side, you'll have individuals that see that talent and they'll get jealous or feel threatened because they feel that talent may take them out of their position as a leader and put you in that position of a leader. So they'll try to put their foot on your neck and make you try to quit or do whatever, so that they can hold that leadership position, but not having the character that they need. All right. So being humble again isn't a weakness. Being modest and authentic is a plus and will provide trust and loyalty to those that follow you. Trust and loyalty. That's one of the things that you want from a team or from your husband, your kids, or wherever you're in leadership at. You want them to trust you and you want them to be loyal to you. If you have someone that's good at something, you're going to have other people in the career that you're in trying to pull on them to get them to come over and work with them because they're good at what they do. And if they trust you and they'll be loyal to you, okay, and they will not move because they appreciate you, they honor you because you're a great leader, not just by your talents, but by your character, but by your character. So in my book, I wrote this: a humble leader is also more approachable, which builds trust and encourages others to follow. People are drawn to someone that feels they can relate to and who seems genuine. Authenticity is essential to gain respect and inspire loyalty. Being humble does not mean that a leader is weak. On the contrary, it takes great strength and courage to be modest. I'm going to read that again. It takes great courage and strength to be modest. Leaders who exhibit these traits are often more successful because they can see the value in others and tap into the untapped potential. Humble leaders are typically modest and unassuming. They do not seek attention or recognition and do not feel the need always to be right or front and center. Have you ever had a leader that you know what you're talking about and you know you're right, but they tell you you're wrong and you know you're right. Everybody in the team says that you're right, but the leader says you're wrong. Why would a person do that? Because you came up to them, you see. And so being modest and being humble is being able to admit when you're wrong, being able to apologize, being able to say, you know what, you're right, and being able to use the talents and the minds of others to better the team or better the family or better whatever it is, the organization, whatever you're leading. You know, I always say two heads are better than one. But if you're an arrogant, prideful leader, you're going to figure your one head has all the information in it that everybody needs. And what's going to happen is people are going to turn against you. Have you ever had a boss where, the boss comes in and everybody's acting like they're working, and then when the boss leaves, everybody just goes back to doing what they do because they have no respect or loyalty or trust in that leader, So we must be very mindful of how we approach. We want to be approachable. Have you ever had one of those leaders that you're scared to approach because every time you approach them, they got a smirk on their face, or they down talk you, or they make you feel stupid, or these type of things? That's that's not a good leader. Many people have left jobs because of their leader, because of the person that is supervising them. You know, um, I used to say, your talent will get you into a leadership role, but if you don't have the character, you're not going to be in that role for too long. So make sure that you are putting your pride to the side and walking in humility and walking in humility. Those that are prideful and arrogant use their position and power to make them look like something they're not, a leader. People use their position as a supervisor and the talents they gain for power. But all that is a position and talent. Leadership is going to draw the whole team to work alongside of you to get the job done. It's going to draw the family together to move forward as a family. It says a house divided will fall, a team divided will fall. So we got to get everybody on the same page. And that's the job of the leader, to get everybody on that same page. In my book, I wrote this: leaders who lack humility fail to see the impact of their ego on others. They believe their position or power says everything about them and their importance. As a result, they're often blind to their own shortcomings and the need of those around them. On the other hand, leaders with humility are keenly aware of their limitations and are always looking for ways to grow. They know that their success is built on the contributions of others. I'm going to read that again. They know their success is built on the contributions of others and are quick to give credit where it's due. As a result, they inspire loyalty and respect from those they lead. From those they lead. Have you ever had a supervisor that just took all the credit? You ever had a team member that just took all the credit when you played a part, or maybe four or five of y'all played a part? People always want to get the accolades. But when you find a good leader, you'll find that accolades really don't matter. Doesn't matter how it was done. It's the point of we as a unit, as a team, as a family, have gotten it done, and we're moving forward. And we're moving forward. So don't be one of those ego-driven leaders in your home or in the workplace, and especially men. We tend to assume sometimes that, since I'm the leader, woman, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Now maybe that may have been true in the 40s and 50s and maybe the 60s, but we in the new millennium here, and things are a little bit different. So you got women working as we're working, so we have to come together as a team. If they go out there and work, then we should be able to come in and help with the cleaning or the cooking or whatever the case may be, because it's a team. It's a team. And when your spouse, your wife, can see you being able to be a leader that's able to get your hands dirty, not just sit in front of the TV and watch sports or do what you do, but leave them to do everything in the house as they're going out working just like we do. What that does is it causes friction. And again, a house divided will fall. A house divided will fall. So let's take a look at this. What's the difference between humility and low self-esteem? I'm gonna give y'all a little second to think about that. What's the difference between humility and low self-esteem? That's a good one. I'm gonna read a quote that was written by C.S. Lewis. It says, "Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less." C.F. Lewis wrote that. Listen, this quote makes an important distinction between humility and low self esteem. Although they may seem similar, they are quite different. Humility is about having an accurate view of oneself, recognizing both your strengths and your weaknesses. It's about being confident without being arrogant. You see, one of the things we do is we talk about our strengths. We move in our strengths, but we want no one to know about our weaknesses because we feel if somebody knows my weakness, they're going to attack me in that area. Now, the thing about a weakness is you can always strengthen it if you know it. But see, the thing that we do is we don't focus on how can we make this weakness a strength. We don't focus on that. And that's something that we ought to do because you can always take a weakness that you have and make it a strength. Now, in contrast, I say in the book, low self esteem is rooted in thinking one is not good enough. I'm going to read that again. In contrast, low self esteem is rooted in thinking one is not good enough. You see the difference? It's a negative view of oneself that can lead to feelings of worthlessness and inadequacy. When it comes to leadership, humility is essential. Humble leaders put the needs of others before their ego. They make decisions based on what is best for the team rather than what's best for them or what will make them look good. So can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? So in uh, low self-esteem, or excuse me, in humility, what I put here, humility, although they may seem similar. So in humility, it's about having an accurate view of yourself, your strengths, as well as your weaknesses, because we have those two sides. We have a good side about us. We have a bad side about us. Everybody does. Ain't nobody just holier than now and just walks on. No, no, no. We all have a negative and a positive side, and it's the same here. So as you're able to see yourself, your good and your bad, your strengths and your weakness, you're moving in a direction of humility. You know you. Okay. Now, when we deal with low self-esteem, what we're doing is how we think about ourselves. How we think about ourselves. And most of us think negatively about ourselves. If you take a look at what you say to yourself about yourself over a day, you'll see that the majority of the thoughts that you speak to yourself about yourself is negative. You flunk a test, you saying to yourself, I knew I was going to flunk that test. I'm so stupid. We say negative things about ourselves to ourselves, and we don't realize we're cursing ourselves by these things that we say to ourselves. Our words have power. If they say we made in God's image and God spoke, let there be light, that means that we should be able to speak a thing and it shall come to pass. Now, in the spirit realms, come to pass. It takes faith to bring it to the reality. But I'm not preaching. We talking about the book. So let me move forward. Let me move forward. All right. So, why is humility important? Why is humility important? And we can look at it right now. We can look at it in the world today. I don't know what's going on in your city, your country, but up here in Washington, they shooting all over the place. Every time I look at the news, somebody shot. And a lot of it has to do with ego and pride and arrogance. Ego, pride, and arrogance. How you gonna talk to me like that? Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then they pull out the gun and they shoot a person because of their arrogance and their pride. They don't want to look bad. They want people to see them as something that they're really not. something that they're really not. So let's take a look at why. Oops, I think I did that wrong. Yes, I did. Okay. Let me see. Right, I meant to mark something, but I didn't mark it. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to look at it right here. We're going to look at how can you develop humility? How can you develop humility? Because a lot of us we grow up prideful. Many, you know, um, we're living in a day and age today where everyone is looking at themselves. How can I get ahead? How can I? And to get ahead, you might have to step on some toes and do some things. You know what I mean? So how can we develop a character of humility? Number one, be aware of your ego. Be aware of your ego. How do you do that? I'm glad you asked. Pay attention to the times when you feel the need to be right or when you are more concerned with winning with the calibrations. Oh, yeah, calibrations. When you catch yourself in these moments, take a step back and try to see the situation from another perspective. Be aware of your ego. Number two, be more open to feedback. Have you ever had a person you give them some feedback or some constructive criticism and they just jump down your throat? Okay. Be more open to feedback rather than getting defensive when someone points out a weakness or mistake. Listen to what they have to say and reflect on whether or not there is truth in their feedback. All we are is mirrors to one another. So as they look at you and you look at them, you see something, they see something. And it best it'd be best for you to accept what they say. If there's truth to it, then you can make the corrections. And all that's going to do is make you a better person. Number three, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Be thankful for the good things in your life, even if you feel like you don't deserve them. This will help you to let go of some of your sense of entitlement and see yourself as part of something larger. Gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude. Number four, celebrate the successes of others. Those people that say, yeah, that's a nice car you got, but gas mileage sucks. They always got something negative to say about something that you have succeeded in, you know. So when someone achieves something great, resist the urge to feel jealous or competitive. Instead, take joy in their success and be proud of their accomplishments. Be proud of their accomplishments. And number five, practice serving others. Practice serving others instead of yourself. Practice serving others instead of yourself. I remember somebody told me some time ago, they said, why don't you give away the jacket that you love the most? Could you give somebody something that you really like? Maybe you wore it. I mean, everybody's, speaking on it. Can you give that to someone and not want to hoard it or hold on to it? Serve others, we are putting their needs above our own. We're not doing it for recognition or any other ulterior motive. We're doing it simply because it's the right thing to do. When we serve others, we're showing them that we care about them and are willing to take sacrifices to see them win, to see them win. That's deep right there. If you give somebody the coat on your back because you got a coat in the car, but they ain't got no coat and it's raining, that shows you care. And an individual, they don't forget stuff like that. They don't forget stuff like that. And don't do it to get something in return. You get those folks, they'll help you pay, your $50 short on your rent. You give them the $50, but then they come back to you and ask for $75, and you're like, man, I don't even got it now. You remember when I gave you that? I mean, that no, you do things from your heart. Do it from your heart. not to get something in return down the line. Not to get something in return down the line. I wrote in my book pertaining to how can you develop humility. I wrote this. Developing humility may be a challenge for some people who've been arrogant and egotistical in the past. However, anyone can become more humble. It will require self awareness and effort. Again, it will require self awareness and effort. However, the rewards are more than worth it. A life lived with humility is a life more authentical and with a greater connection to others. It is also a life that is less likely to be derailed by ego or pride. Now, in the Bible, in Proverbs 16 and 18, it says, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. This verse is a powerful reminder that we should always be humble and avoid arrogance. When we are proud and think too highly of ourselves, we set ourselves up for failure and ruin. We set ourselves up for failure and ruin. Now, another problem that a lot of leaders have is they don't want to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I guess we're programmed to assume that being the leader, you should know everything and shouldn't need to go and ask for help. And that's not true. No one knows everything. You may know a lot, you may be talented in your position, but you don't know everything. So ask for help when help is needed. I wrote this about needing help. I wrote one of the most challenging things for leaders is asking for help. We've been conditioned to believe that leaders are supposed to be strong and self sufficient. We're not supposed to need help from anyone. Asking for help can be seen as a sign of incompetence or weakness. However, humility is not about being weak, it's about acknowledging that we can't do everything on our own and that we need help from others to achieve our goals. When we're humble, we're not afraid to ask for help when needed. We know that it's okay not to have all the answers and that other people can help us find the solution. The best thing about a team is it's a team. Now you have somebody leading the team, but it's a team. And that team has thoughts, they have talents, they have things that could help the team as a whole. And in that, it makes the leader look a certain way in the company. It makes the husband in the marriage look like a great leader of his family because he's using his family and himself to make the family better or make the team better or make the corporation better. It's not a one man band. It's not a one man band. It's a tribe. Some tribes are larger, some tribes are smaller, but it takes a tribe to raise a child. That's what they say. All right. So, okay, we're going to get to the questions. We're going to get to the questions. So, after each chapter of my book, I have questions. These questions are for you to look within yourself and answer. Okay. So, question number one: how would you describe your level of humility? How would you describe your level of humility? Number two, do you find it difficult to ask for help when you need it? Why or why not? Number three, what are some practical ways you can show humility in your daily life and leadership? Number four, how can you ensure you don't let your ego get in the way of your decision making? And last but not least, number five, what is one area of your life where you need to humble yourself and ask for help? All right. So yes, we, as I say, I try to keep this about at 30 minutes because it's a lot of information. You know, you can always go back and look at the recordings. And like I say, go to Amazon, get my book, put in the search bar "Character of a Leader," put my name, Anthony Baxter. It will pop up. Get your book so that you can go through it, understand it, and begin to apply these tools into your life. And I can guarantee you, you will become a better leader. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about resiliency. Resiliency. It's going to be a great topic. For those of you that have been following me throughout the last 11 weeks, I thank you. I hope these tools and the book is benefiting you. Uh, we're coming up on New Year's. I know everyone is planning on what they're going to do and what they're going to stop doing and all this great stuff. Let's do this. Let's set a New Year's resolution to be a better leader in our home, a better leader in our community, a better leader in our jobs, just a better leader. And to be a better leader, you must have a character of a leader. Until next week, y'all have a fantastic day and Happy New Year's. Be blessed.